What is exercise programming? Look at it in all its glory. No need to memorize it, we're going to go through each layer one at a time. Now, how do you adhere to a program best? Hello, I'm Max Alpha at Scalable Power with the goal of getting you from where you are to where you want to be. So today we're going to go through the basics of programming. So let's begin. Learning to program. Everyone got the laptops out? Bad jokes aside, what is exercise programming? And it's not lifting a computer. It involves structuring workouts to best meet your specific goals. So say if your goal is, say, endurance, fat loss, muscle building, you might not want the same program for all three. Programming helps to give direction, balance, safety, so you're not just going in blind. You actually have a plan to follow. Because without a plan, it's like driving without a map. You'll move, but not necessarily into the direction you want to. You'll get nowhere fast. So what are the pillars of exercise programming? There's purpose, why you're doing what you're doing in the first place, planning, prioritizing what matters to you, and progression, so improving over time. Although programming can be used as a principle for any type of training, we're going to primarily focus on resistance training, because that's what most people are interested in. So what is resistance training? It's any type of exercise where your muscles are working against resistance, whether it be weights, machines, or even your own body weight. Muscles adapt to resistance by growing bigger and stronger each time. This is called hypertrophy, where muscle fibers grow thicker after recovery. And although they are heavily linked, muscle size and strength are not exactly one-to-one. Strength can also be increased by the nervous system learning to recruit the muscle fibers better. Resistance training also improves your metabolism. To a certain extent, don't rely on that entirely. I know that some people believe that lifting weights and building muscle is some sort of hack to being able to eat more calories, which to a certain extent is true, but that's only if you've built so much muscle that requires that much more energy each day to be able to function. So if weight loss is your only goal, you should be hitting the treadmill instead of the dumbbells. Here's the priorities pyramid. Look at it in all its glory. No need to memorize it, we're going to go through each layer one at a time. Like a good cake. So at the base of the pyramid we have adherence. So that's sticking to it. Consistency beats perfection. Never let the perfection be the enemy of the good. Also never let the good be the enemy of the great. Now how do you adhere to a program best? Allow your program to fit your life and your lifestyle. If you know that you can only stick to training 3 days a week, don't instantly push yourself to that 6 and then fall off. It's better to slowly build up over time, instead of instantly falling to failure, and using that as an excuse going forward. Adherence also involves making it remotely enjoyable and realistic. You're not going to stick to it if you hate it, are you? Look, obviously you're not going to enjoy going to the gym all the time. You might not even enjoy doing it at all. But if you want to get the results, then you have to go through the effort to do it. So why make it less enjoyable than it has to be? Pick the exercises you like, obviously the ones that still work, and work as good as they can. But if it's between two exercises, which are of equal value, then pick the one you enjoy more. That's just going to make it so much easier to adhere to a program. And as for making it realistic, don't aim for 100 sets per workout. And if you don't know what is realistic for you, start off small and then slowly add bits. Slowly add more exercises, slowly add more sets to find out where your actual limit is. Make it as simple as possible. If you're someone who doesn't necessarily enjoy researching every single different facet of every exercise, then just make it as simple as you can to the level where you actually are going to stick to it. And that also involves your methods of tracking, say, your calories, your macros. Like I started out using a notepad and a spreadsheet. It's not sustainable when you have so much else going on in your life. Try to make it as easy and simple for yourself to be able to do. It just makes it 10 times easier to be able to stick to a program. But if you did want a more optimal program without the hassle of tracking everything, click the link below for online coaching options. Makes everything so much easier for yourself, especially if you are busy. But if you do enjoy tracking everything by yourself and for yourself, it's completely up to you. Or if you want to master your own journey, just don't know where to get started, again, click the link below. Problem solved. To surmise for adherence, the best program is the one that you actually end up doing. The one you can actually stick to and the one that you actually do. It doesn't matter if there's another program out there that's 1% more optimal in a certain way, if you're not going to stick to it. Same thing for diet. The best diet isn't some restricted, extremely difficult nonsense. It's the one you can actually stick to. It's the best diet you can have while being able to stick to it. Volume, volume, volume. What is volume? It's sets times reps times weight. If you have too little volume, you're not making as much progress as you could. But if you have too much volume, that'll just lead to burnout. The perfect balance is somewhere in between. So what are reps? Reps are individual repetitions of an exercise. So say doing one movement, one bicep curl, and down. That's one rep. Now a rep range is the amount of repetitions performed in one set. So before a rest. Here are some generally recommended rep ranges, although some exercises may require even higher rep ranges to avoid injury. The higher the rep range, the lighter the weight. The lower the rep range, the heavier the weight. The 3 to 6 rep range is great for building strength, but it's also very fatiguing. So you can't have too many sets in a workout if you're going to be going extremely heavy, unless you want to be there for 5 hours, which I assume you don't. Imagine how expensive it would be to try to live off vending machine protein bars. The 8 to 12 rep range is great for building both strength as well as muscle. It's not too fatiguing, but it's also not really optimal for either. The 8 to 12 rep range is decent for building both strength as well as muscle. It's not specialized for either, so it's a good middle ground if you're not really too sure if you wanted to specialize in one or the other. Now the 12 to 15 rep range is better for hypertrophy in most exercises, because the weight's lighter, so you're able to control it easier, and be able to fully feel the muscles move, and increase the mind-muscle connection. However, some people might feel that on a certain exercise, the 12 to 15 rep range is a bit too light, so adding more weight and going down to the 8 to 12 rep range might be a better option to you. Experiment between the two. Personally, I can't feel calf raises as well in the 12 to 15 rep range as I can in the 8 to 12. Some people it's vice versa. However, with the lat pull down, the 12 to 15 rep range is so much better for me to be able to actually feel the muscles retract, instead of 8 to 12, where you just sort of moving the weights around. I mean, you've not fully got that mind-muscle connection. To each their own. Completely. Experiment between the two. So how do you know that your program has proper volume? If you have constant strength gains, you're not plateauing, you're not regressing in strength, because that would indicate that you have too much volume. If you're performing too many sets on too many days, and you can't recover between the two, you're not going to get stronger, especially if you're natural. Now you may have heard of junk volume, so what is it? It's reps performed after already being fatigued, which leads to little or no gains. Because if you're already tired, you can't give your all to the final set of a workout, just like you did in your first set. That's where prioritizing comes in, but for now we're just talking about volume. So cutting that total number of sets down may be preferable, and that's total number of sets within one workout. So if you're going on to your 12th exercise of one workout, you're going to go nowhere near failure, because your nervous system's already fatigued, your muscles are already so sore that you're not even going to be able to recruit them properly, and you're just doing the exercises for the sake of it. That's not a good program. So how do you keep a high volume of training without going into junk volume? That's why you would want to spread your exercises across as many days as possible, so that you can come in fresh each time and not be worn out. So if you did the same number of sets over 6 days as you did over 3, you're going to make more gains going for the 6 days. Because if you're trying to cram 6 days worth of sets into 3, you're going to be fatigued halfway through your workout. However, adherence is still the priority. If you can't do 6 days, do not have that as your program. Don't say, well, if I can't do 6 days, then I'm not going to try it all. You're just setting yourself up for failure, and not the good kind we want for hypertrophy.